Let's bring in our legal expert and also senior anchor and reporter Ken Mijungu from the newsroom. Ken, you've seen what has just been happening. What options do the doctors have going forward?
Continue with what they have been doing, that is picketing, make it legal, operate within the law. That's the first option they're having. Second option is go home, wait for 30 days, let the officials get out of jail, and then they return to the negotiating table to talk about what they have been talking about for the last 71 days. That's the only option the doctors can exercise at this moment. Although there's a school of thought, Trevor and Gladys, that argues that the rest of the officials, for example, we still know that the chairman of the negotiation committee is still there, so he can still convene and continue with the negotiations with the government. As it now, Trevor, it's the government going to negotiate with itself. You remember Judge Hellen Wasilwa in the morning said the negotiations will go on, so they can continue. However, the problem is the doctors' union, KMPDU, is not mandated to negotiate with anyone else save for the Secretary General and those 7 officials who have been arrested. In their absence, it's actually impossible to come to the table legally between the Union of Doctors and the government and the stakeholders, including the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, KOTU, Labour Ministry, Ministry of Finance, SRC. It's impossible.
Can the doctors, well, actually, or rather, they talk that they were jailed just as mediation talks were starting to bear fruit. The question is, did Justice Wasilwa today flex muscle?
She indeed did, Gladys. We reported last week on Friday that there was a lot of negative view of the court, the Labour Court, Labour Relations Court, as being toothless and able to act, especially in the face of contempt. And in her submission last week, she said also that the image of the court is at stake. And then there was a lot of questions that were flying around on whether they can enforce contempt, and the discretion granted by the law can be exercised within the law to sentence on contempt. And indeed, this is premised from the fact that we've seen a lot of contempt of court, that there's been a lot of inaction. Then she comes today and very seriously sitting on her throne in court and makes this judgment after declaration, rather, after hearing from both sides. Even a further request for an additional time to finish what they were saying is effectively just appending their signatures on the return to work formula. Then she makes that ruling and says they go to jail. In effect, she exercised what many, especially those opposing the strike, have been looking forward to. And here we're reading the COG, the Council of Governors, who are the ones who initiated this case in court. So yes, she did indeed flex her muscles finally.
All right, thanks, Ken.